You're about to enjoy a wild story and improve your English at the same time, without even trying. These adventures are designed to teach you naturally through real experiences, strong emotions, and useful sentence patterns. So hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and turn on the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's story. The streets of Zurich were quiet and clean. It was early morning, and snow was still falling, light and silent, like sugar from the sky. Nadia stepped out of the small hotel with a plastic bag in one hand and her phone in the other. She had found a hiking trail online. It promised a great view of the lake and snowy mountains. She was excited. This was her first trip to Switzerland, and she wanted to make it special. The weather app had said it would be cold, but she didn't think it would be this cold. Still, she wanted to be comfortable. So she wore leggings, a long sweater, and her favorite flip-flops. They were soft and easy to walk in. Plus, she didn't want her boots to get dirty. She didn't know yet that this decision would lead to one of the strangest mornings of her life. The trail started not far from the city center. She followed signs and climbed past small wooden houses. Some had smoke coming from the chimneys. Some had bird feeders hanging outside the windows. It all felt like a postcard. The snow was thin at first, just a white layer on the sidewalk. She walked quickly, swinging her arms to stay warm. Her feet felt a little cold, but nothing too bad. She passed a group of kids playing in the snow. A dog barked and chased a red ball across the yard. The hill started to rise. Now she walked on a narrow path between pine trees. The wind picked up, and the snow fell harder. Her feet began to hurt. She stopped and looked down. Her flip-flops were wet. Her toes were red. Still, she kept going. The trees got thicker. The path turned icy. She held onto branches to stay balanced. After another few minutes, the trail opened up to a wide view. Below her, the lake was calm and deep blue. The mountains behind it were covered in snow. It was stunning. She smiled and took a few photos. But now her feet were freezing. She turned around to head back, but the trail behind her had changed. It was harder to see. The snow had covered her footprints. The path looked different in this direction. She felt a small panic rise in her chest. She turned back toward the view, hoping to find another way down. But the slope ahead was steep and slippery. Her flip-flops offered no grip. She tried to step carefully, but one foot slid forward and she dropped hard onto her side. Pain shot through her hip. She lay there for a second, the cold soaking into her sweater. She had made a mistake. A big one. Slowly, she sat up. Her hands were shaking. Her feet were wet and numb. The trail didn't look familiar in either direction now. She had no map. Her phone battery was low. The signal was weak. She stood up and took a deep breath. The trees around her stood still, quiet, full of snow. She started walking downhill, choosing the path that seemed easiest. But the snow kept falling, and her flip-flops slipped more than they stepped. Every few meters, she had to grab a branch or crouch to steady herself. Once, she slid for several seconds on her heels, snow spraying into her sleeves. She wanted to laugh, but also cry. She didn't cry. She kept going. Finally, after what felt like a long time, she saw a wooden bench. Next to it, a small sign pointed toward the city. She almost shouted with relief. The snow had stopped falling. The sky above her was now a soft gray. The trees thinned out, and the path turned into a road again. She reached a small cafe at the edge of the neighborhood. Warm yellow lights glowed through the windows. She didn't go in. She looked through the glass and saw people drinking hot chocolate, reading newspapers, wearing thick coats and dry shoes. She looked down at her feet. Her toes were pink and raw. Her flip-flops were nearly frozen. Her leggings were soaked up to the knees. She turned away from the cafe and kept walking. She didn't want anyone to see her like this. Later, back in her hotel room, she ran warm water over her feet and wrapped herself in a thick towel. The feeling returned slowly, first pins and needles, then heat, then finally, peace. She sat on the bed and stared at the ceiling. It had been beautiful and terrible. She laughed to herself. Only she could do something like this. But she also knew something now. Snow was not soft and fun when you were wearing flip-flops. Snow was heavy and cold and full of rules. Switzerland was not a place for light shoes. And hiking in the mountains, even near a city, was no joke. That night, she ordered soup and fresh bread from room service. She ate in silence, thinking about her morning. It would be a memory forever, not just because of the view, but because of the feeling, the lesson, the adventure, and the coldest toes in Europe. You picked up real-life English, how to describe discomfort, nature, weather, small mistakes, and strong emotions. You saw how past events unfold step by step, how to express sudden changes, and how to describe surroundings in vivid, useful ways. Stories like this help you absorb advanced structures naturally through context and emotion. If you liked this snowy disaster, subscribe, leave a like, and turn on the bell. We post a new English story every single day that helps you learn while being entertained. And drop a comment. What's the worst outfit mistake you've ever made while traveling? We're ready to hear your funniest moments.